And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Market Reflection. My name is John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me as usual. Today is still Wednesday, March the 29th. I'm going to take a nice deep breath. The day is over, and some pretty decent opportunities, I think, even for a very narrow range today. We saw something in the S&Ps we haven't seen for a while. We had a pretty decent delta divergence. Those of you that were in group coaching today learned a little bit about that. We saw it in action at the end of the day with Make Hogue Money. We had a nice long at the end of the day there. We saw that coming and we took advantage of it, which is really good. Yeah, we still have delta increasing in negativity. The short time frame is still trying to sell that market. But for me, the day is over, and hopefully a positive day for you, and it's over as well. S&P is closed unofficially up 56 points or 1.4%. NASDAQ up 232, up 1.8%. And the Dow up 317 ticks, 1% higher on the Dow. Crude oil. Now check this out. The EIA announces that there is a 7.5 million barrel draw in inventories here in the U.S. The API was a little less of a draw than that, but still a draw, and price moves lower. It's just amazing how these markets work, and how crude oil always seems to go the opposite direction of what the EIA is indicating as far as fundamental information is concerned. It's just, we never know what's going to happen. So tomorrow we're looking for the GDP for the last quarter of last year. The expectation is 2.7%, probably going to be 2.7%. I don't think anybody wants to shake things up too much. But we're going to have to see how the markets respond to that. And it's important to keep an open mind, accept information that the market is giving you that may be contrary to what you think, and always manage risk. Huge thing to manage risk. As always, I do ask that you hit the lucky like button. Share, comment, question, feedback, and heckling are always welcome, as well as love. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get notified when we do go live. Tomorrow's Thursday. So tomorrow morning I'll be doing the market prep, and that's it for me until Friday, of course, for the market prep. But tomorrow, at the end of the day, we're going to have the podcast with Jack and Dan. Looking forward to that. We may not be having the podcast, however, because we are having Jared Tendler, 2 o'clock Central Time tomorrow on YouTube. Be there or be square. It's going to be another great session with Jared Tendler answering your questions. Good afternoon, Haggle Matters. Will, Anissa, Phil, and the Real Deal Trader. Whose idea was that long? That particular one was my idea. We could not get good trade locations, so we took a little bit of heat trying to get into that trade. But it ended up being a 10-point winner, so not a bad trade. We saw it coming with that negative delta, and so another $50 in my pocket. Most of the time, I don't do that. Most of the time, if I don't have good trade location, I'm going to skip it. But today with that negative delta, the sense that longer time frame traders had the short time frame traders stuck short was too good. I had to take it, and it turned out to be a good trade. So today we had Fed member Barr speaking again, just kind of looking at some of the things he said. Banks' reactions to the current economic situation are likely to result in a reduction of overall credit availability. Well, obviously, rates are higher, credit is a little bit harder to get. We've got Barr saying we are keeping an eye on tightening credit conditions, of course. Those factor into interest rate decisions. What else did he say here? There was a couple other things I wanted to mention. It's unclear whether the Fed had the tools to prevent the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. Oh, only the fact that since November of 2021, the bank had been warned that they'd better straighten up. And they didn't even have a risk manager. You know what? I think real deal, we're going to start a bank and you're going to be the president. Phil's going to be the risk manager. Will is going to be in charge of supplies. And Haggle Matters is going to, I don't know, we're all just going to stand around and run a bank and do nothing about it. It seems like that's what happened there. So the equities, the markets today, always interesting, always challenging. Let's take a quick gander through some of these charts, shall we? Here is the crude oil, knowing that the EIA was coming out today, probably wasn't going to be doing much to begin with. Here's the 30-minute chart. Where'd it go? Here it is. So here's the 30-minute chart. I want to put the profile on here so we can kind of get some context as to what time we're talking about. So the EIA comes out, we get a knee jerk to the upside and the market breaks. Where? Right back to weekly kickoff level here, $73. 72.97 is settlement. Getting a little bit tired of this 73 level. I'd rather see it down at 37. So the profile, opening initial balance, neither the high nor the low. We looked higher after the number came out. We ended up closing lower and right back to that important inflection level that seems to be more magnetic than repulsive. Market's continuing to grind higher, and now we had some good conversation about what the weak lows that we've been seeing lately mean and what they may mean moving forward. But we still have upside structure. Volume was a little bit low today in futures. In New York, a little bit higher than yesterday, which was 3.9 billion. I don't have the final numbers out here yet, but at least it's a little bit higher. We see a little bit of oomph, volume a little bit higher in futures. I'm expecting to see a pretty decent jump in open interest tomorrow because, again, we think we saw some longer time frame buyers in this market yesterday via that delta number. Here's the 30. Haggle Matters, you can be the philosopher king of the bank. Yes. Yes, and the philosopher king of the bank gets to just take money whenever he wants. All right, here's the S&Ps. A lot of overnight inventory to the upside. This market looked higher, pulled lower. I was short when this market put in these lows, and I got real nervous about it because we started to see some pretty stiff negative delta, and the market was just not able to push lower. We put in a poor low here. We have a poor low here. We have a weak low here. This market is just full of unfinished downside auctions, and yet continues to keep going higher. I think that's a function of the fact that we haven't seen longer time frame traders in this market for a little while. So these are short time frame, weak lows where price just got too cheap. We got too short, and we left these weak lows down here. But they still remain, and they may come into play at some point in the near future. So Negative delta had me looking, okay, I was really nervous for shorts when I saw that delta. Had a pretty decent trade throughout the day and another good one during make hogue money on the long side. Here's our TPO chart. Well, look at that. We have a late spike. We have a late spike. So that's going to give us some reference for tomorrow morning. I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything because of GDP. NASDAQ. Here's the daily. Still largely range bound. We did close above these candle body highs here, which I kind of like the idea of. Here's the 30. No overnight inventory adjustment, maybe slight, but no close of the gap has us looking for opportunities for longs, which paid us relatively nicely. Good afternoon, Vince. Here's the TPO chart. Overnight, opening, continuation. We're going to be looking for some open interest increases tomorrow in those equities markets. Otherwise, this rally is going to feel a little bit hollow, and I'll feel foolish. Here's gold. Still range bound, still coiling. Volume coming in because now this is the front month finally. Here's the 30. Range bound. We opened in range and value. This morning I thought, I don't really see any reason to be all that excited about gold today. Looking at short time frame levels. Well, settlement value low from yesterday or somewhat near the low of the range from yesterday. But boom, 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 boom. Just choppy. If you could recognize that this was the kind of day we were going to have in gold, you could fade the extremes. Would have been difficult on the upside, but the downside gave us 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 opportunities to buy against the lows with limited risk. Here's the TPO chart. Excess high, late spike rejection, weak low. What's that all mean? There's that gold again. Here's the euro. Range. Short time frame control. Overnight value low from this day. Overnight low, the low from the previous day. Not a lot of big opportunity. We're waiting for information, ladies and gentlemen. We are waiting for GDP. Smaller ranges we've had in the last couple of days, this volatile range-bound area, giving us some fits. Here's the 30. Didn't get the profile on here. Wasn't really focused on this market today. There we go. We didn't even hit any visuals. I mean, there's visuals within striking distance. We couldn't even get to those. This market is waiting. It's time to hurry up and wait. What about the natural gas? Some continuation, maybe to the downside. Maybe. Here's the 30. No, really just pretty much in range all day today, it looks like. Almost like gold, just in range, rejection below. It's last week's low? No. No, this is last week's low. Up here. So value continues to move lower though. Point of control a little bit higher today. What about the TPO chart? No excess. Little excess, normal variation. IB extreme, no. Well, yeah, actually, IB extreme, yes. The low is the low of the initial balance. But again, value moving lower. We're looking for this market to continue to move lower until further notice or until something changes. And change is good. That's what we're all here for. You gotta love change. You gotta want change. 1982, the year of my high school graduation, a 19-year-old North Carolina freshman named Michael Jordan makes a 16-foot jump shot with 15 seconds left to give the Tar Heels a 63-62 win over Georgetown in the NCAA Tournament Championship. I remember that. I remember when the Bulls got him, too. 1929, Herbert Hoover has a telephone installed in the Oval Office. 1929. Seems kind of late for that, doesn't it? Well, music. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm tired. I don't really see any any birthdays that I really know. Michael Brecker, I know. He was collaborator with like Steely Dan, James Taylor, Paul Simon, Lou Reed, Donald Fagen, Dire Straits, Joni Mitchell, Eric Clapton, Billy Joel, John Lennon, Aerosmith, Dan Fogelberg, Frank Sinatra, Frank Zappa, and Bruce Springsteen, Roger Daltrey. The guy was with everybody. The guy was just amazing. 1973, Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show got their picture on the cover of the Rolling Stone after their hit, The Cover of the Rolling Stone. 1975, on this day, Led Zeppelin saw all 6 of their albums in the U.S. Top 100 chart. In the same week, alongside their latest album, Physical Graffiti, was number 1. It's now been certified 16 times platinum. That may be my favorite Zeppelin album, but whenever I say that, something else comes up. It's gonna be maybe about it. I don't really. That's about it. I am going to get some good rest tonight, so I'm ready and wrestling for tomorrow. We still have we do have some ES poor highs and a weak low above today's high from February to March. So poor lows below are not the only ones in play. There's always something in play, isn't there, Hegel Matters? Isaac Rivera held on to a trade for 6 hours today and took a nice 14-point winner, much needed after a losing day yesterday. Top Step funded. Good job, Isaac. Nice work. So, well, get some rest tonight, guys and gals. Looking forward to an interesting trading day tomorrow. And I don't think after 7:30 that there's all that much except nat gas. So tomorrow it's GDP jobless claims. Personal incomes and outlays are on Friday. Consumer sentiment is also on Friday. A lot of talking Feds tomorrow and Friday, so keep your ears and eyes open for them. And other than that, I will let you go. Have a good night. Be kind to yourself and others. Say a prayer for peace, please. We need all the prayers we can get in this world. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Blessings to you all. Have a good night.